It also allows him to spend 300 hours in boxing clubs in a few months' time once he's famous, helping kids who might otherwise be on the streets.
Anthony Joshua's life could have really went a different way, going from crime and going to prison to making hundreds of millions in boxing. I'm going to get into his journey today. Anthony Joshua, born in Watford, spent his early years in Nigeria at Mayflower School before returning to the UK age 12 after his parents' divorce. Now, 2006, age 16, Joshua has his first brush with the law. In secondary school, he grabs an opponent by the neck and throws him, resulting in a charge of actually body harm, ABH. He receives a warning rather than a harsher penalty, making an early encounter with legal consequences involved. The following year, he was introduced to boxing by his cousin Ben. Joshua joins Finchley Amateur Boxing Club in Barnet, North London, initially attending for fitness, but he discovers a passion for the sport, which begins to steer him away from street life. He's reportedly on an anti-social behaviour order, and ASBO at the time. At age 18, Joshua faces a significant legal setback when he is arrested and held in remand in Reading prison for over 2 weeks due to street fighting and other unspecified crazy stuff, is what he said in the interview. He faces the possibility of a lengthy sentence, potentially up to 10 years, but is released without a conviction. A pivotal moment that prompts him to focus on boxing, and he begins training seriously, even taking up bricklaying as part of court-ordered terms to learn a trade in case he didn't make it in boxing.
That's when I started boxing. So what happened now?
The boxing came straight after that, did it?
After that. So I got let out on bail after like 2 months.
Yeah.
It was like I had to sign on. I got banned from the area I grew up in. My auntie's house had to go up as a bail condition to say I can't leave the country. If I leave, then the government
What,
can
security
take me.
against your auntie's house?
Yeah, I had to be on tag, had to be at home every day at 8 o'clock. And then I got banned from Watford, so I'm now coming to London a lot. So I'm in London now, and I'm thinking, boy, if I go to jail, I need to get strong. So I start pumping weights, and that's when he took me down the gym. You know, there was times when I had to rush out the gym because I got to rush. You know, the coach wants to talk to you after training, but I'm on tag.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and talk. So yeah, then I got not guilty, and I carried on that path. And then 2 and a bit years later, I'm at the Olympics.
2009 to 2010, Joshua's amateur boxing career starting to take off. He wins a boxing cup, even the senior ABH championships in 2010, defeating Ayman Aiza to become British amateur champion. Despite his success, he turns down a £50,000 offer to go professional, prioritising medals over money. In 2010, he's arrested again for possession of cannabis with intent to supply, after police find 8 ounces of drugs in his car while he's wearing his GB boxing tracksuit. He pleads guilty and is suspended from the GB boxing team after receiving a 12-month community order of 100 hours unpaid work. And as Anthony Joshua was becoming more known in boxing, he started speaking out in mainstream interviews about stuff like knife crime and the impact it has.
People don't realise the effect that it's having on their family. So let's say me and yourself have an issue, we get into an altercation, something detrimental happens where you lose a life or I lose a life. We're looking at it as me and you. What we don't see is that I may have a son, a daughter, a wife, I've got a mother, a father, a cousin, a brother who depend on me, and what we do, we lose that touch because we're so small-minded and we only see it as me and you. So I think that I wish that people can kind of let issues go. Maybe there's underlying issues, I don't know, but I think that people need to think of the bigger picture when they're getting into, you know, these situations.
He himself was going down the wrong road. Maybe the judge could see him as a possible role model if he manages to change his life around, because this incident nearly derailed his Olympic aspirations. The barrister that represented Anthony Joshua in court actually went on James English and explained how he pretty much struck a deal with the judge, saying this would be for a good cause, him getting a lighter sentence. Shout out to James English. The full thing is on his channel, but we'll cover it here.
When we went to court for trial, I couldn't win the case. We knew we couldn't actually win the case in the circumstances. So we had a very sensible conversation with the prosecutor and a sensible conversation with the judge. And the conversation we basically had was, look, yeah, we understand that he's committed the offence. We understand that it is what it is. And I don't mind saying that publicly because obviously he's been very straight about it himself. He's on record, he's in a book. Otherwise I'd have to be much more circumspect. But the reality is he'd done what he'd done. But the punishment was going to end his career. The punishment would have ended his career. The punishment he would never have fought in the Europeans. Without fighting in the Europeans, he couldn't afford the Olympics, etc., etc.
Obviously, God has to be on your side. People don't realize how much of a make or break moment this was for AJ to even establish himself at all at boxing and get through the amateur ranking systems. It could have messed up his whole career, meaning he couldn't even fight outside the UK. But this is what happened.
I just fronted that up to the judge and said, the reality is we'll have to fight this case and then we'll lose this case. But if he was to plead guilty to possession, which obviously he's guilty of as well, if he was to plead guilty of possession, you could give him the harshest possible period of unpaid work. That would allow him to get his license back. It would allow him to fight in the Europeans. It would allow him to fight in the Olympics. It would allow him in his future to fight in America, which he could never have done if he'd had a supply on his record. It also allows him to spend 300 hours in boxing clubs in a few months' time, once he's famous, helping kids who might otherwise be on the streets.
In 2011, that was a turning point for Joshua. After his cannabis arrest, his coach Rob McCracken and Sean Murphy were advocates for his return to the GB boxing team. Believing in his talent, he refocuses, winning a silver medal at the 2011 World Championship. The performance secures him a spot in the 2012 Olympics. He's also named Amateur Boxer of the Year by the Boxers Writers Club of Great Britain. Age 22, Joshua won Olympic gold in the super heavyweight division at the London 2012 Olympics. The victory catapults him to national fame and solidifies his decision to pursue boxing professionally. In 2013, Anthony Joshua turns professional, signing with promoter Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. After consulting with Lennox Lewis, he makes a professional debut in October, winning by first round knockout at the O2 Arena. His cousin Ben also debuts professionally alongside him. By 2015, his professional career was already gaining momentum. He wins the WBC International Heavyweight title and defended it against Dylan White, a former amateur rival who defeated him in 2009. Joshua knocks out White in the 7th round, capturing the vacant British title and retaining the Commonwealth title. He credits his time on electronic tag for installing discipline, helping him stay focused. As he continued to rise, beating opponent after opponent, moments of his old self would come out, especially that face-to-face with Dominic Brazil where he warns him.
You better bring it, man.
Eddie,
I like the
it's
rest
more in
of
this
you, man.
heater though, man. Because it's not about June 23. Let's show some respect, stand in front of me. Like
I respect you, man. You're the champ to get the belt.
It's not about the belt. I
After
told
beat
you, don't stand there like you're going to do something to me. I don't care about the belt. Man to man, show some respect. Stand in front of me like you're going to do me something. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. You're not about that life. That's what I'm saying. Don't push up on me. Don't push up on me.
What more respect would you want?
Hand on my heart. Don't push up on me. Listen, hear me.
Listen,
Hear me. Don't push up on me like that. I'm not an actor. Don't act. Don't act with me. I see through it.
no action.
Yeah? Come to us, shake your hand.
By age 26, Anthony Joshua becomes world champion by knocking out Charles Martin in the 2nd round at the O2 Arena, marking his first world title. And the following year, things got even better. Joshua cements his status as a global superstar after a thrilling fight of the year with Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley Stadium, winning the WBA and IBO titles to add to his IBF belt. He's ranked the world's most marketable athlete, attributed to his rags to riches story, overcoming a troubled past through boxing.
The main thing I could tell young men as well is stay out of jail and stay focused on like your education. I know it sounds boring, but like keep on trying different avenues, like educate yourself, keep on trying, and you'll find your voice. What these kids are like seeing on a day-to-day basis of what makes them feel like they fit in, but yet it's so far out of reach. And then the parents living in a reality where bills and struggles are happening. And I've had like, even me, like boxer, successful, my past always catches up with me even today. And everything that you want, maybe in terms of like the material side of things, because them young kids haven't tapped into their spiritual side yet.
Say what you want about his boxing ability, but Anthony Joshua definitely did adopt a role model status. Like the prisoners were getting excited when he come there, and many young people were looking up to him. And we need people like this in society that are not afraid to speak out and stand on doing things that are positive.
That's important. Young kids going through like peer pressure to get certain things. Stay out of jail, because that will affect you massively in the future, traveling wise, job wise. If you can't get the job you desire, you can't get the trainers you desire. One decision can make a big impact. And that, I'm trying to say, like kids suffering, like don't stay in that suffering mindset. Like I told you, you can't stop and stay there. Like keep on searching, and then it's a pleasure to be able to stop because of the problems you have in life. Put yourself in a situation where you have no other opportunity but to keep on moving forward. That's the best thing I can say. The minute you give up, the minute you the minute that wins.
An article actually come out saying Anthony Joshua planned to help his gun smuggling cousin, 24, turn his life round after visiting him in prison while he serves a 14-year jail term. Joshua even posted a Snapchat story during his visit to the southwest London prison. The source told the paper that the arrival lifted the spirit of the inmate. AJ was devastated to find out his cousin was in jail and determined to help him with his rehabilitation. He turned his own life around, so seeing him lift inmate spirits, the prison staff encouraged his visit and they've had a positive impact on the prisoners. They also revealed the boxer made a private visit to another youth offenders institution last year to help inmates. Police reportedly encouraged the visits, and Joshua doesn't get any special treatment, instead opting to sit in the public area. From 2018 to 2021, Joshua's career sees highs and lows. He unifies the WBO title after a unanimous decision over Joseph Parker in 2018, but suffers a shocking defeat to Andy Ruiz in June 2019, losing his title. He reclaims them in December 2019 via a rematch, getting a unanimous decision. However, he loses the titles again to Usyk in September 2021 and fails to regain them back in a rematch in 2022. Anthony Joshua possibly starting boxing late was catching up to him. You're meant to start as a kid. This guy got into it a bit too late to probably compete with someone like Usyk, who's been doing it forever, going through all the amateur ranks. Anthony Joshua's frustration showed as he grabbed the microphone and went on a rant.
I ain't no amateur boxer from 5 years old that was an elite prospect from a youth, bro. I was going to jail. I see some hype little youths in Reading jail. I got bail and I started training, because if I got sentenced, I wanted to be able to fight. I bust my case. But cousin Benga, where's he at? G14, raise your hand. I'm stealing this Usyk, sorry. But it's because passion we put into this, man. Guys, I'm telling you, this guy to beat me tonight, maybe I could have done better, but it shows the levels of hard work he must have put in. So please give him a round of applause as our heavyweight champion of the world.
His comeback started. Joshua rebuilds with wins over Jermaine Franklin, Robert Helenius and Otto Wallet, even doing a much better job on Francis Ngannou than Tyson Fury did. However, he suffers a knockout loss to Daniel Dubois for the IBF title, marking his 4th professional loss. Right now, Anthony Joshua is 35 years old. His professional career stands at 28 wins, 25 by knockout and 4 losses. Despite the recent setbacks, he remains a cultural icon in the UK, with a net worth estimated to be 150 million in 2023, and figures estimate to be way over 200 million now, as the Saudis in Riyadh especially have been pouring money into boxing. And despite a few setbacks, it seems that Anthony Joshua is not finished yet. He's continuing to train right now with potential fights like the Dubois rematch, Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder under discussion, though he has an injury right now that is delaying his return. But it does seem like he'll be trying to rebuild his career once again.
I can't remember. I got my head punched in how many times? We was in Reading jail together. Years back. Crazy. Yeah. How mad is that? Yeah,